Why are Americans unemployed for a longer period of time nowadays? Let's go ahead and jump over here.
Over 1.8 million Americans have been classified as long-term unemployed in a given month in 2026, meaning they've been out of work for at least 27 weeks. That accounts for about a quarter of all unemployed Americans. Long-term unemployment has seen a sharp rise in the US, up about 55% from 2023 and 45% from 2019.
I just recently got let go or laid off from a startup right before Thanksgiving. I thought that, this was going to come around with the level of expertise and the amount of people that I've networked with my entire career. This is only going to be temporary. And I was shocked by the end of January that nothing had, hit. I had refreshed my resume. I think I banged on every person's door in my LinkedIn connections. I had found every single connection I had, and there was just cold lead after cold lead after cold lead and a no. And so just give it a couple more weeks. This is going to work out. And then, it really did blink, and 6 months is flown by.
Economists are interested in this group of people because their experience can help determine the health of the American labor market. Think of it like this. If more Americans are taking months and months to find jobs, that can indicate the market has a higher barrier to entry and isn't as strong. The rising amount of long-term unemployed people is a sign of the low hire, low fire environment. With companies reluctant to increase headcounts amid higher interest rates and the rise of artificial intelligence, it becomes more difficult and can take longer for people to find a job. That's exemplified by the hiring rate for US non-farm payrolls, which stood at 3.5% in March. It's trended downward since 2021, meaning companies have been adding workers at a slower rate.
I've probably interviewed over 20 different times, and out of those 100 applications, I've probably been ghosted maybe 80 times. And so it's not that we're not trying, it's the fact that we're getting buried.
I wonder, I don't like a lot of these conversations, these news segments where they're not specifying what the person was like, what role the person was in, what are they applying for. Just because you get back years ago at these startups, they would have these like different roles: masseuse, chef, quiet time room caretaker, stuff like that, right? All of these non-traditional roles. So when you say you get fired from a startup, I'm like, okay, what did you do there? So now when you're like, oh, I've been applying. Okay, what is it that you're actually applying for? And that's those are the type of questions that I have. Whenever I hear something that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, the first thing that comes to mind is a bunch of questions. I don't just jump to conclusions. I ask questions. I'm like, well, what is happening here, here, and here that's causing this? As opposed to, oh my God, this isn't right. Oh my God, this is wrong. I'm like, what could be the factors that are leading to this? Does that make sense to you? That's how I see it. That's the way that I see it. So I'm just wondering, what jobs are you looking for? And when you say ghosted, does that mean that you interviewed and they never, wait, hold up. He said something weird.
Rates and the rise of artificial intelligence, it becomes more difficult and can take longer for people to find a job. That's exemplified by the hiring rate for US non-farm payrolls, which stood at 3.5% in March. It's trended downward since 2021, meaning companies have been adding workers at a slower rate.
I've probably interviewed over 20 different times.
Well, to be fair, companies were hiring a bunch of people during the pandemic because the government was giving away free money. Also, I don't think anything has changed because companies were getting slower to hire when there was this boot camp epidemic. Like, oh, I went to a boot camp for 6 weeks. Now I should be making $400,000 a year. And then now people are doing everything with AI, their resumes with AI. I read this Reddit post yesterday where this person was saying, oh, this company told me why they rejected me. They said because I spelled the company's name wrong. The requirements of the job said the cover letter should just be a brief 1 paragraph of X, Y, and Z, and you provided like 3 paragraphs, and you were saying a bunch of stuff that wasn't asked for. You had typos and all this type of stuff, and I'm like, of course people are going to get rejected more, because if they're producing poor quality work, at the end of the day, a company still wants a good employee. Right. So this guy said that wait, hold on.
5% in March. It's
Say 20
trended
times?
downward since 2021, meaning companies have been adding workers at a slower rate.
I've probably interviewed over 20 different times, and out of those 100 applications, I've probably been ghosted maybe 80 times. And
Wait, what? Does that make it all right? I've probably been interviewed over 20 different times. Out of 100 applications, I've been ghosted 80 times. Wait, what? That
Meaning
makes no
companies have been
sense.
adding workers at a slower rate.
I've probably interviewed over 20 different times.
I've probably interviewed over 20 different times.
And out of those 100 applications, I've probably been
Out of those 100 applications,
ghosted maybe 80 times. And
I've been ghosted maybe 80 times. Sorry, if you never hear back in the first place for an interview, you were never ghosted. It's like sliding into someone's DMs on Instagram, right? And you give them this nice little message, and you say, "Oh, what's going on, whatever." And then they don't respond to you. They leave you unread, or maybe they even read it and they don't respond to you. And you're waiting for a response and you never get one. Did they ghost you? In my opinion, you were not ghosted. You were just ignored, right? There's a difference between getting ignored and getting ghosted. Ghosted is you start a conversation, maybe you actually have interaction, and then you never get responded to afterwards. You went on an interview or you went on a date, right? You go and you think it went well. And then, you send a follow-up email, or you send a text message the next morning, and then you never hear back. That is ghosting. If you send a DM or and you never hear back, or you put in your application, you never hear back, that is not ghosting. That is just being ignored. Like, am I off on that? I think that's pretty self-explanatory, right?
so it's not that we're not trying, it's the fact that we're getting buried amongst each other because there's so many of us looking for jobs right now. There's only so much that talent acquisition and HR departments can do to find the talent that their companies are looking for. We are quite literally all drowning in the unemployment crisis right now.
This kind of a
I think that companies will seek out who they want. They'll leave room for applications to come in and stuff like that. But what recruiters do at companies, and when they use third-party recruiters, they are searching. They're headhunters. They're searching for people that can actually do the job. So you might have thousands of people applying for it, but they're looking for like 5-10 people that they're going to say, "Oh, okay, this is the job. Go ahead and apply for it." And that's basically a guarantee. Like, if a recruiter reaches out to you and tells you to apply, that's a guaranteed interview. Guaranteed interview, and you get so much closer to the job. Like, you already passed the first step. They're reaching out to you. So you need to market yourself, your LinkedIn, because a lot of times they don't have your resume. They see your LinkedIn. Cater your LinkedIn to the job that you want. Cater your resume to the job that you want. Be ready to communicate. Network, things of that nature, so that you can actually get into the realm of the people that you want, right? But if you still have a dusty LinkedIn profile that your boot camp told you this is the way that you set it up, and you have the same exact looking LinkedIn page as everyone else that goes here with the same terrible resume that everyone else that goes here, then you're gonna get the same results as everybody else, which is absolutely nothing. You're going to put in 3,527 applications in a year and get nothing back. Shout out to you over there. I wonder what happened to my sound. I don't know what happened to my sound. I'm supposed to have a sound for that. Let me see. I don't know if that sound. There it goes. Regardless. Anyways, is this done? Let me see.
Economy creates challenges even for workers who already have jobs. With more people competing for fewer openings, employers have more leverage in today's market. Year-over-year growth in wages has seen a significant drop from the highs of 2022. But just as costly is the hidden toll of long-term unemployment. First, there's the personal cost that extends far beyond a single missed
All right, we have to speed this up because he talks a little too slow for my liking.
paycheck. Research shows that after a decade, long-term unemployed workers earned about 32% less than non-displaced workers, compared with only 9% less for short-term unemployed workers. Job losses have also been linked to worsening mental and physical health, as well as greater social withdrawal.
What psychologists tell us is that other than the death of a family member or a close friend, this is one of the most devastating things that people face. So it's a very serious health problem and an economic problem.
The amount of rejection, the amount of ghosting eats away at you. Even with therapy, it's still like, it's really hard to constantly be told that you're not good enough or that there's not a spot for you. And as someone that's always like carved their own way or found a path to success, it feels like there's just a blockade in the road, and that no matter how big the bulldozer is that you're pushing or how hard that you're pushing yourself, that blockade's not moving.
Then there
Let me ask you a question. Are you really carving your own way, making your own way if you are dependent and reliant on a third party to make a decision to bring you in, right? Yes, you want to be able to add value to a organization, but you might think that you're doing your part, but I just wonder, are you making your own way? Are you figuring it out when you are still depending on someone else to make a decision on you? Right? So for me, I'm always of the mindset of that you need to build your own. Like, still work for a company, work for there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think that's a great thing to do. I work for a company, but you cannot become reliant on only a company. That's why, for instance, here we are always working on different projects, figuring things out, and the things that I learn here, I apply to the work that I do at work, and the things that I learn at work, I apply those concepts to the work that I do here. I'm not like, my work, like my job is not the end all be all for me. And the things that I do here is not the end all be all for me. I'm always thinking, I always have that mindset of, okay, what else can we do? How do we pivot? Always looking like future focused. You know?
There's a societal cost. Communities with high levels of long-term unemployment often see higher rates of crime and violence. Other studies have found that children who grow up with long-term parental unemployment tend to have significantly worse mental health in their adulthood. And lastly, it can hinder the growth of the US economy. A widely adopted economic rule of thumb estimates that a 1% increase in the unemployment rate is associated with a 3% reduction in GDP. That's because high unemployment often leads to the suppression of consumer spending, which accounts for almost 70% of America's gross domestic product. For millions of Americans, long-term unemployment is more than a temporary setback. It can reshape their careers, families, and communities for years to come.
What do you guys think about that? Honestly, for me, I think that the first thing, like I said, I want to know what are these roles that people are applying for. We keep hearing, oh, college grads, they're not finding jobs in the age of AI, but what are their majors in? They say computer science this, computer science that. I see so many opportunities with AI for college grads, especially computer science majors, to start innovating, to start building, and to use AI. Don't reject AI, but use AI so you can show companies that you are AI focused and that you can grow and add value. And lastly, like I said earlier, you need to have a self-development routine so that you don't become bound only to a company. treat it like this. The way that I see it, I like to analogize tech to all sorts of things. Let's take sports, for instance, right? You want to be the most sought after free agent. For a while, no longer now, but for a while, every offseason, the question was, what is LeBron James going to do? I'm taking my talent to South Beach. That was one. Then when he fled Miami to go back to Cleveland, then and I think in Cleveland he had a the way that they were doing it was 1 year option, and then he's like, all right, now I'm going to the Lakers. You want to make yourself the most sought after free agent. So that means in the best technical shape of your life, always, knowing these new tools, knowing these new platforms, knowing how to use them, having a well sought out portfolio, a well curated portfolio, so that wherever you go, wherever you land, and being able to communicate very well. That way, whenever you find yourself in a situation, you're just you're firing on all cylinders. All right. Let me know your thoughts below. Drop me a comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification so you know every time I go live and drop new content as well. Go to techcoachralph.dev. Join us to have more of these type of conversations over at our Vibe Code and Chills. Join us for our Scrum Nights. Get access to Resume Flow, Speak Precisely app, and the Tech Barbarians coaching portal over at techcoachralph.dev.
They think the machine never break. Sometimes the battery hit red. I ain't stopping, I'm just rebooting. Why the bounce back?